E7, day 1, and we're learning now to use EA as the long E sound. So the only hint I can give you to help you remember that when we use EA for the long E sound rather than EE is that most of the words that have EA in have something to do with eating. So you can eat a pea, you can have some food at morning or afternoon tea, we get food from the sea. Mum might wear a bead when she's cooking. We can eat a long green bean or black beans, baked beans, so quite a few beans that we can eat. You can sit on a seat when you eat. You can read a recipe book to know how to cook something. We eat a lot of leaves. We eat spinach leaves, lettuce leaves, cabbage leaves. There's a lot of leaves that we eat. And beak, birds use their beak when they are trying to eat. So these words mean, of course, when you're putting food in your mouth, you're eating something. A pea, this is a pea pod and it's got some little green peas inside it. You can have a cup of tea as well as afternoon tea or morning tea. And some people call the evening meal tea. But quite often in Australia we now say dinner for the nighttime meal. The sea is the ocean where boats may go and we catch a lot of fish. Beads are like little balls with a hole through the middle of them we can thread onto a piece of string or to make a necklace. Beans is a type of vegetable. It's inside, it can be a long green bean or it can be inside a little pod. A seat is just a chair or something that you sit on. Read, you can read a book or a newspaper or a screen. Leaf is part of a plant and beak is the part of a bird's face that it uses to eat its food with. Now let's go through, and now that we know that it's the long E sound that we're using in all these words and we're using the EA for the long E sound, we'll just colour those in. You can do it with your highlighter too. And here we've got a long vowel sound, and we've already talked about after a long vowel sound we just use a K for the K sound at the end of a word. We only use CK if it's a short vowel sound. E goes for a long time when we say it, so we say it's a long vowel sound. Let's see if we can read those words. Eat, eat, e, p, t, e, t, e, c, b, e, d, bead, b, e, n, bean, s, e, t, seat, r, e, d, read, l, eef, leaf, b, e, k, beak. Now we're going to read them, sound them, spell them, cover them and write them 3 times. I'll only do the first line with you, you can do the rest of them on your own. So we go, eat, 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 E-A-T, E-A-T, E-A-T. Cover it and write it 3 times without looking. Right, you can finish off the rest of that page on your E7, day 2, we're revising that EA may make the long E sound. So you've already learned that 2 E's together make the long E sound, like in C or B. That E at the end of a word can make the long E sound, like in me, he, she. And that Y at the end of a word can make the long E sound too, like happy. So let's have a look at all of these words. The easiest way to remember whether to use EA, EE, E or Y for the long E sound is to try and think of how these EA words have something to do with eating. So eat has EA in it. Pea, you can eat a little green pea for dinner. Tea, some people have afternoon tea or morning tea and they eat something. Some people call the evening meal tea time. The sea, we get a lot of food from the sea, so that's something to do with eating. A bead, Mum may wear a bead around her neck when she's cooking the dinner. A bean is a long green thing that we can eat for dinner. A seat, you sit on a seat when you eat. You can read a recipe so you know what and how to cook it. We eat a lot of different types of leaves. We eat lettuce leaves, cabbage leaves, spinach, lots of different herbs that have leaves. And a bird eats with a beak. So the easiest way to remember to use the EA word is if you can associate it somehow to the word eat. And they're the words, then you would know that you're using the E and the A for the E sound in those words. Okay, so here you just have to finish the words and match some of them to the pictures. That's nice and easy for you. Then it says read and fill in the gaps with the missing list word. A bird has something. We can something our book. It is fun to play in the sand by the We can something something. She will sit on a Gran will drink a cup of. We can put on some string. Is part of a plant. I like to fish and chips. So you're going to use these words up here to finish these sentences down here. Off you go. E7 day 3, we're revising that EA may say E in some words. So we've already learned that you can use two E's together for the long E sound, or one E as in me, he, she for the long E sound at the end of a word, and you can use a Y at the end of a word for the E sound, like lady, baby, etc. So eat, eat. We've got P-E-P, T-E-T, S-E-C, B-E-D, bead, B-E-N, bean, S-E-T, seat, R-E-D, read, L-E-F, leaf. And we know, because this is a short word but it's got a long vowel sound, we only put one F at the end of leaf. B-E-K, beak. Because this is a long vowel sound, we know that we only put a K at the end of the word for the K sound. So we've already talked about how to know when to write EA or double E or E or Y for the E sound. The easiest way to remember when we use EA is to try and associate the word with the word eat. So we can eat some morning or afternoon tea, we can have a little green pea for dinner, so we eat it. We can have a cup of tea with our meal, so that might help. Sea, we eat a lot of food from the sea. We eat seaweed and fish. A bead, you might get beads of water on the lid from the steam. A bean is a long green thing you can eat for dinner, or you can have baked beans for breakfast. You can sit on a seat when you eat. You can read a cookbook to know how to read the recipe to know how to cook it. We eat a lot of different types of leaves, and a bird eats with a beak. So this part here is plurals, where we usually add an S to make a word mean more than one, to make a noun mean more than one. So we can have a pea or a bag of peas, a bean or a pot of beans. Now here, we haven't got the base word, we haven't got the singular, we've got to work out what it is. We can have a pile of leaves, and here, if you look at the word leaf, we've changed the F into a V before we add the ES. So you have to hear, you can listen to that when you say it. Leaf, leaves. So you can hear that V in there. So when we want to make it one or a single leaf, we have to change that V back to an F. So we'd have to go a leaf. So we're taking that V back to an F to do that. Here you've got to work out what the base words are, what the verbs are. So we've got bead, read, eat. Then we're going to have beads, reads, eats. Then we're going to have beading, reading, eating. Now here we're usually adding ed to the end of a word to mean that we've already done it. So bead-ed, if you hear ed at the end of the word, you know you're writing ed. So bead-ed. Now with read, we don't say I readed a book. This is an irregular verb, so we just say I will read the book, I read the book. And here the EA is making its other sound, E. With eat, we don't say I eated my dinner, we say I ate my dinner. So that's another irregular or unusual verb. And we put little alerts there so that you realise that they're not normal verb families where we just add the ed. So fill in the gaps using the correct word. You know that we can have see with your eyes, S-E-E, or see where lots of fish and plant life live under the water. So that's a different meaning. Bean, this bean means something you've already done, whereas this is the bean that you may eat. It grows on a plant. It's a seed on a plant. I, something with my eyes, will be I see with my eyes. I eat a bean. I swim in the sea. I have been to the zoo. Quite an easy one for you to do on your own. Here you have to, it's proofreading, so you have to find which word is spelt correctly. So we've got circle and copy the correct spelling. So leaf, you have to find which word is spelt correctly, that one's correct, and then you have to write it on the line. You can do the other ones on your own. Off you go. E7 day 4, we're revising some of the sounds we've previously learnt. We've learnt double L and L for the ool sound, whoop and whoop for the whoop sound, E, and E for that long E sound. So we've used different letters for each of those. So what you have to do is work out which letters you're using for which sound in each of these words. So we've got what, so we'd have what, and then you have to write it down the bottom where the WH words go. Then we've got screen, E, so we're using the double E there. So you've got to find where the double E ball is down the bottom and write that word in there. Then we've got smell E, so we know we use a Y on the end of a word for the E sound, so smell E would go there. You can finish off all of those words and write them down the bottom where they belong.